But I like these doors swinging out, so I'll just click on the double arrow so that the doors are swinging out. I'd like to place another set of doors right in this location. I don't want to use this double exterior too light because it has windows and I don't really want windows going into this space. So let's change that on the type selector list to a door exterior double, 72 by 84. Have those doors swing out as well and place those doors near the middle of that wall. Let's place some doors here inside of our bathroom area or our restroom area. Underneath properties on the type selector list, let's find a door that's appropriate for that kind of door. That door passage single flush may be the one that we want. Let's see what else that we have. That's what we'll pick, the 36 by 84 door passage single flush door. So select on 36 by 84. Have these doors try to swing into the bathroom area. Right now, if I place the door the way that it is, it will swing in the wrong direction. I'd like to change this from a right-hand door to a left-hand door. Even before I click, I can just hit the space bar, flip the door swing one side to the other. I'll place the door in there, click the space bar, click in order to place that door in that location. I'll move over to the other side. Whenever I touch on the wall, that's where I'll get the door. Then hit the space bar to flip it to the other side and click. And there we have doors leading into this restroom area. I'd like to also have a door similar to this one right along the wall right here. I'll move the door down to this location. I can either have the door swing into the hallway area or into the room. In order to control which side the door is swinging into, is which side the cursor is on the wall. If I'm closer to this side of the wall, then the door will point in or toward that side. If I'm toward the other side, it'll then go in toward the room. In this case, I'd like to go in toward the room and swing up against the door. So to accomplish that, I need to hit the space bar and then click to place that door. I'd like to place a door into this room, a door into this room, then a door that leads from this room into this area, and then place a single door that leads into this big conference room area. So let's come over here to this door passage single flush, and let's choose a different one off the list. Let's choose the door passage single two light door. So select that 36 by 84 door. And now let's place that door and have the door swing into the room. If we wanted to place another door in, we could do that as well. Let's place a door in down in this area. Stay with this door passage single two light. One thing though is I do know that we will eventually have a staircase, and that staircase is probably going to be coming down somewhere around this area and coming in this direction. In order to actually avoid that staircase, I'm going to try placing the door here. I may need to move it later, but I'll place it down in this area for right now. Hit the space bar in order to flip it to the other side, and then place that door in that location. Next, I'll place a door that leads into this area here. Use another one of these two light doors, place it inside of the wall here, click in order to place my door in. By the way, whenever you first place a door in, you do get these temporary dimensions that show up. So if you need to move that door a certain distance away, you can. Click on the temporary dimension and type in the dimension that you would like it to be. And then that door will move away from that wall or from that column, whatever the dimension is that you type in. Now I'd like to put another door in at this location, and then click. So now let's go up to the second floor, go to the project browser. We need to find the second floor plan and then double click on second floor. And from here, I'd like to place a door in this location. Right now we can actually see down through because we don't have a floor in. And I'd like to place a door in this wall, which is right above where that door is at. So once again, we'll activate the door command. Instead of the door passage single two light, let's choose a different one off of the list. Use this door passage single flush, and then place that kind of door up above. Click in that location, and then hit escape a couple times on the keyboard to get out of that command. So to place doors, go to the Architecture tab, select on door, pick the kind of door that you want to place off of your type selector list, find the wall that you want to place the door on, and then just click wherever you need the door to go. One last thing to know about doors, and if we zoom into a door, we can see that. If you click on a door, you get the double arrows. And if you click on these double arrows, you can flip the swings of the door. So whether it's a left-hand or a right-hand door, or whether or not it goes into the room, or it goes into the other room, you can control that just by using the arrows. Placing a door on a curtain wall can actually be a fairly difficult task. And the reason is that it takes a lot more work to place it in a curtain wall as opposed to a regular wall. Go up to the Architecture tab and select on Door. Then if we try to highlight over where the curtain wall is located at, we never get the opportunity to actually place that door into the curtain wall. Doors only go in the walls. Unfortunately, though, a curtain wall isn't a wall. It's actually a series of glass panels, and unfortunately, a regular door just can't place itself inside of a panel. What we need to do is insert in a curtain wall panel, which is also a door. To do that, we first need to hit escape a couple times on the keyboard to get out of any kind of command that we're in. Then we need to load into our project a curtain wall door. And we can do that if we come up here to the Insert tab and select on Load Family. Those curtain wall doors, technically panels, are still found underneath Doors. Double click on Door. We have 3 curtain wall doors available to us. Wall double glass door, storefront door, and then a single glass door. For this project, let's select on 2 of the doors, storefront door, then hold down the Control key and select on a single glass door. Hold down Control and you can select on multiple different doors that you want to load into your project. At this point, let's select on Open to load both of those into the project. The next thing we need to do is go into a view where we can actually see the panels that we need to place these doors into. We now need to go to an elevation view. So in the project browser, let's go to our West elevation view. If you double click on West, we can see over here on the right-hand side are curtain walls. I know that each one of these squares inside of our curtain wall is 5 foot by 5 foot. And obviously we don't have a 5 foot by 5 foot door that we would ever place. Our door is going to be 3 foot by 7 foot. So because of that, we need to draw in where that door needs to be. Let's zoom in here toward the middle of our window. And what I'd like to do is first combine these 2 panels into one panel. We need to highlight over where we have this mullion. Continue to click on the Tab key on your keyboard until you get the single dash line going across. When you do, left click with your mouse, select it. Click the little pinhead. When you do, you'll get the option to add or remove segments. Select Add Remove Segment, then click right in this location. When you do, it'll remove that segment between the 2 panels and combine both of these panels into one panel. Now, unfortunately, though, all this has given us is one big 10-foot tall panel, which happens to be 5 foot wide. The next thing I'd like to do is adjust the overall size of this so that we have an area that's appropriate for the size of our door. To accomplish that, I'll hit the Escape key on the keyboard to get out of the command that we're currently in, then go to the Architecture tab. Sliding to the right of the Architecture tab, we can see that we have 3 different options related to our curtain walls. Select on Curtain Grid, and here we can see that we have some options called All Segments, One Segment, and All Except Pick. If we choose All Segments, which is currently highlighted, and then come down, we can see this dashed line that goes all the way across all segments in this location. Right now, I know that we want the bottom number to be about 2 feet, and we can place this and adjust how high that is after we've clicked. But one thing to know is that if we select with all segments picked, we'll then have a new segment going all the way across. What we really want is one segment. So if we select one segment, we can see that just inside of the cell that we're in, that will be the one that has the dashed line. So let's go ahead and click somewhere right in this location. We can always adjust its exact location later. I'd like to place another one in here. I want the doorway to only be 3 feet wide, and right now it's 5 feet wide. So instead of placing one of these segments going from left to right, I'm going to touch either the top or the bottom one in order to place that segment going up and down. Once that's in place, we'll click, and now we have roughly a doorway-sized area that we can place our door into. But the next step will be to actually resize this area before we place our door into it. Hit the Escape key a couple of times on the keyboard. That will take us out of the command. Highlight over where one of the mullions is at. Click the Tab key on the keyboard until you get the dashed line. Click when you get that dashed line. What we want to have is this dimension here to be 3 feet. So to accomplish that, we click where it has the dimension and just type in 3 feet. Now that's 3 foot wide from center to center over here. The next thing I'd like to do is come down here and do the same thing. Highlight over this, click on tab, click. Right now I can see that this is 1'8", and I know that this is 5 foot from here coming on up, which means that right now this is 6'8". I really need this to be 4 inches bigger than that, so we'll type in 2 feet. So that doorway is now just a little bit taller. Once all that's been accomplished, the next thing is to actually put in our door. Down here at the bottom mullion, click on it, click on the little pinhead, and then select the delete key on your keyboard because we don't need that. Next, click the tab key on the keyboard until that panel is highlighted in blue. And if you look really close, you'll see that there's a blue line going all the way around the panel on my screen. Click to select the panel, come up here to the little pinhead, and now underneath properties on the type selector list. And now we want to look for that door that we loaded into the project. We have two, the door curtain wall double storefront and the door curtain wall single glass. Since this is just wide enough for a single door, let's go with the door curtain wall single glass door. And now we can see it's placed that door into our project. In fact, if we look at it in a plan view now, in our project browser, under floor plans and double clicking on first floor, we'll now see that we have a door swinging out of our building. I'd like to adjust some of the heights of my walls as well as the heights of some of my columns. This is the process that I use while making those adjustments. Usually when I'm working inside of Revit, I have 3 or 4 views open, oftentimes on multiple monitors. I'll first open up one of the views that I need to be in. I'll come up here to the View tab. For this example, I want to open up a 3D view. By the way, underneath the View tab, I also could have just selected on 3D view and it would have taken me to the same location. And we can see inside of this view that I have some very short columns, which I need to make some adjustments to. I also need to make adjustments to a couple of the walls to make them a little bit taller. I'll now tile my windows so I can see both views at the same time. Underneath that View tab on the ribbon, select on Tile Windows, and that'll open up all the views that you currently have open. The next thing I want to do is zoom out so I can see both of my views at the same time. Click inside of the view and then type ZE in order to zoom out so I can see the full extent of my 3D model. Over in the other view, I'll do the same thing. Or double click on the wheel of your mouse to automatically zoom to the extent of your model. Now we're looking at the building in both views. Now the next thing I'd like to do is zoom into my columns here in the plan view. Hold your mouse button down and then just window around the column. If for some reason you did accidentally highlight other things, you have an option, and that is come up here to your filter and make sure that only your columns, whether it be a column or a structural column, is highlighted and click on OK, and that'll just select those things. Once you've done that, come over here to Properties, and for the top level of this column, select on Roof 3, move your cursor over here, and you'll see that your columns automatically move up to that elevation. Now I'd like to do the same thing with some of the other columns. Zoom into this area, window around, zoom out, zoom into this area. And that's so that I can select on more than one thing because I already have something selected over here. Hold down the Control key on your keyboard and click on the structural column and then the architectural column. Let's do the same thing for these up here. Hold down the Control key on the keyboard, click your mouse button and hold your mouse button down and then window around those columns. If you've done all those things, you now have all those columns selected. Go to Properties where you have your base level and top level offsets, and change this from second floor up to Roof 3 to raise the overall height of each of those columns. And now I want to do the exact same thing with this column combination here. So I'm just going to click, hold my mouse button down, window around the column. Also with this column here, hold the Control key down, window around my columns. I'll zoom back out, do the same thing over here with this column, hold the Control key down, window around them, and then change their top level to be Roof 3 as well. By doing that, we can see that all of those columns are now going up to that Roof 3 level. Now the next thing I'd like to do is change these in the back. These two columns, there's 2 columns over here, as well as 2 columns over here, and change all of those to be going up to Roof 2. Just come over here to the plan view, and in this case, we will use the filter to help us. Click here, hold the mouse button down, and just window around all these different objects. Then come up here to the filter Clear the checkbox next to everything that's not some sort of column. So we'll have a check next to columns as well as structural columns. Click on OK to that. And then for the second floor, top level there, let's have that top level go up to roof 2 instead. Move your cursor out here and you'll see that all those columns then raise themselves up to the appropriate level. Click inside of the 3D model area and zoom in. And now I'd like to raise the overall elevations of each of these walls that we have here on the outside, as well as this wall in this location. Move your cursor over until you've just selected on one of the walls. Make sure that the entire thing highlights in the blue like that. Come here to the top constraint. It currently says unconnected. We'll have that go up to roof 3 and you'll see that it adjusts itself accordingly. You could also do that in plane view. Go into your plane view, highlight where you have just the one single line going across, and you'll notice that it highlights over here. And do the same thing over on this one. Hold down Control so you can select multiple walls. Select the wall here on the outside. Come over here to your height. Change it from an unconnected height to roof 3. Moving your cursor over, you'll now see that all those walls now raise themselves up to a more appropriate height. Select on one of the walls, hold down my Control key, click on those 3 walls. After selecting on the walls, I'm going to adjust the top constraint. So it's no longer just unconnected. I'm going to drop it down to roof 1. That'll be the level for it. Notice how all the walls have now dropped down to that level. And now if we zoom back out, we can see that the columns that have been adjusted are now the appropriate heights, and everything is ready for the roofs and ceilings that will eventually be put inside of this model. Placing windows in Revit is an easy process. After we place our first few windows in the building, I'll show you a trick to make things a lot easier during your window placement. The first thing that we need to do is go to the Architecture tab and then select on Window. Underneath Properties, click on Type Selector List and then choose the kind of window that we want. If we had multiple windows loaded into the project, we could choose from different kinds of window types. But in this case, we just have a fixed window of a variety of different sizes loaded into the project. Now I do want to use this 60 by 60 fixed window. Right now in the properties, we can see the sill height and the head height of the window. I'd like the head height of the window to actually be at 7 foot. We can see that the sill height automatically adjusts to the fact that this is a 5 foot tall window, and now the sill height is now 2 feet because the head height is 7 feet. Just zoom in the floor plan view, find where in the wall you want to place the window, and while I do care where these go, at this moment I don't care too much because we will move them in a moment. Click in order to place the window in. I'll come over here, click and place another window in, and now do the same process over on this side. Click to place the window in, and click to place the window in. If we take a look at it in the 3D view, if we hold the Shift key down on the keyboard and then the wheel down on the mouse, we can spin this around. If holding down Shift on the keyboard and holding down the wheel on the mouse is difficult, just click on the upper corner of the view cube, and that will spin the building around as well. If we zoom in now, we can see our windows. What I'd really like to do is center these windows so that they're centered on the rooms that they're currently in. Let's go to first floor. The next thing I'd like to do is place a set of dimensions. Go to the Annotate tab, click on Aligned. Where it has this information, it says Wall Centerline. I'd like to do this just to the wall face. Pick the face of the wall, pick the middle of the window, pick the middle of the next window, pick the face of the wall, and then click just somewhere out here in space. When you do, we have a dimension string going across and we have this equal sign. Select on the equal, and now they're equally spaced here to the center of the window, to the center of the window, to the edge of the wall. I'll hit the escape key a couple times on the keyboard and then select the dimension and just delete the dimension. Now when you delete the dimension, it will give you a scary looking warning message, but that's okay. We'll just select on unconstrained. And now these windows could be moved if we wanted to, but they're still equally spaced inside of the room. Let's do the same thing with these 2 windows down below. Click on Aligned, pick the face of the wall, the middle of the window, the middle of the window, then the face of the wall. Click somewhere out here in space, and click the little EQ symbol, and now these windows will be equally spaced. Here, to the center, to the center, to the face of the wall. Select on the equal here, click Delete, Yes, I'll unconstrain those windows so that if any changes would happen, these windows will always stay in the same spot inside of the room. Now, if we take a look at this from the outside by clicking on the default 3D view button, we can now see that these are equally spaced and inside of the room. Now, the last thing I'd like to do is copy these windows up because ultimately there will be a room up here and a room up here. And we could do this inside of a plan view, or we could do it here in the 3D view. I'm going to choose to do it inside the plan view so that we can see it a little bit better. If we go to the first floor plan view, holding down the control key on the keyboard, and then selecting on each of the windows, come up here to copy to clipboard. Then we can go to paste this aligned to selected levels. And then we can choose which levels we want to paste it to. In this case, I want to paste a copy of these windows up to the second floor. Click on OK. Now, if we go to the second floor plan, we'll see that we have those windows in place at the same elevation as they were in relationship to the first floor. In fact, if we take a look at this on our 3D view now, we can now see that we have an exact copy of those windows directly above the windows up above. In fact, if you had an entire floor plan full of windows or doors or even rooms, you could select on all those elements and copy them all from one floor directly up to any other floors you needed to copy them to. Tagging our doors and windows in Revit is actually one of the fastest and easiest things that we can do. Go to the Annotate tab on the ribbon. Select on Tag All. Now we need to tell Revit which objects we need to tag. Make sure the door tags is highlighted. Hold the Control key down on your keyboard and click Window Tags. By holding the Control key down, it allowed us to select both window tags and door tags at the same time. If we had any other Revit projects linked in, we could also put a check mark next to include elements from linked files, then tag those doors and windows as well. The next thing I'd like to do is just click on OK. We've automatically tagged all of our windows and all of our doors. Each of these windows is actually the exact same type of window. So if we want to give it a new number or maybe even a letter, all we need to do is select on the tag, click where it has the number 10. I think I actually will give it a letter, A, and then click out here. Do you want to re-tag each one of these so that they have the letter A? Because they're all the same kind of window, the answer is yes. And now we can see that all of our windows are now tagged with the letter A. To renumber our doors, we just need to select where we have our door tag, click on the tag, and then click, and then tell that door what number it needs to be. Maybe this is door 101. Click out here. If we would create a door schedule, it would show up as 101 on the door schedule. Now, the reason why this is the only door that does not have a number associated with it, technically this is not really a door. What we're looking at here is actually a panel inside of a curtain wall, which represents a door. The way that Revit is designed, we can still give this a number and it'll still show up on our door schedules. Let's just start to go around and change the numbers of each of our doors. This one should be 102. I'll come up here, make this door number 103. If for some reason we ever needed to move one of the tags, we could click on the tag, click on this little arrow, and then pull it to the side. I'll make this door number 104. This will be 105, 106. And even if we decide to renumber these inside of our door schedule, we could open up a door schedule and then renumber it in there as well. And if we renumbered it in the door schedule, it would then show up here on the plan view. This will be 109, and this will be 110. Tagging your windows and doors is one of the easiest things that you can do in Revit. All you need to do is go up to the Annotate tab, select Tag All, tell it which objects to tag, and it will automatically tag them all. Then you can just go to each tag and type in which number or letter that needs to be assigned to that door or window.